Hi, I'm Maggie. I'm a licensed clinical psychotherapist. I have degrees in psychology, theology, and marriage and family therapy, and a national certification in dialectical behavioral therapy. In this video, I'm not seeking to diagnose anyone. I'm only willing to offer insight into situations like these. Hey, everybody. Hi, I see Nina's in here. Adric's here. He's first. Okay. So today it's gonna maybe be a little contentious, but the title is Men Run from Real Love and Women Forgot How to Love. So we're gonna talk about that. Okay. So I saw some TikToks and there's been some ideas brewing in my head. So I wanted to kind of talk about it. I wasn't exactly sure who to talk about first, the men or the women, but I think the women are where we're going to start first. So women forgetting how to love. I've been seeing, of course, for a while, there was people making statements about weaponized incompetence. Okay. So if you don't know what that is where women are saying men are purposefully acting incompetent about household chores and household duties so that she'll take over and do them and he sort of gets out of it. So that's always flummoxed me because I've witnessed it. But also I think about sometimes women like things done in a certain way and and vice versa, but sometimes women want things done in a certain way, and then if a man does it and he doesn't do it like to her standard or the way in which she likes it done, then she gets naggy. And I've seen where women get upset because men don't do it the way she likes it to be done. And so the next time she asks him to do it, he kind of phones it in. Um, Maybe it's to be like, just do it yourself. Maybe it's a little bit like, you're going to hate the way I do it anyway. As an example, for myself, as an example, I'm extraordinarily picky. I don't know where it comes from, but I'm very picky about my yard work. I like the lawn mowed a certain way. When it's mowed, I like all the weeding to be done. And even with the grass, I want the driveway edged. I want it to look like my yard just came from the barber shop. Like I want everything edged and lined and perfect. And I mean, the curbs. I want the curbs edged. I want the gutter swept. Like I'm very, very picky about how I want it done. I just want it to look super nice. So guess what? I do it myself. And I don't go at it with the attitude of, well, if you want something right, you got to do it yourself. Nobody else. No, it's I like it this way. And so if I just do it, then it's done. There's no argument, right? Like, and I can look at the yard and I can say, wow, that looks nice. I like it. It's beautiful. So it kind of, the more I looked at that, the more I looked at also the way women were asking men if they can do this or this. Because one of the complaints is, doesn't he see that the trash is overflowing? Doesn't he see that the dishes need to be done? Doesn't he, you know, why do I have to ask? Why do I have to? Well, you put two people together and they have different levels of what's acceptable and when things are done and how it's done. And so a woman tends to take it upon herself and then kind of shame him in a way. And what I started noticing was women treating men like another child, like as a dependent. and and talking to him and shaming him and punishing him because he's not doing chores correctly, right? Like, of all things, it's chores. He was doing all his own chores when he lived by himself. She was doing all of the chores when she lived by herself. And it's super easy just to come up with an agreement. Okay. There's not this need to treat a grown man like a child, right? I see Toya's in here. Hi, Toya. Leon says, yes, women love things done in a certain way. And if it ain't in my mama's house, well, LOL, my woman can fold and hang clothes to the right. Yeah, like also laundry. Like, I have a lot of clothes that need to be hand washed or washed on gentle or hung to dry, or so I'm not going to ask somebody else to handle the laundry, or even switch it from the washer to the dryer because who knows what's supposed to be taken out, and they're my clothes. I can take responsibility. And if I'm already washing my clothes, I can wash your clothes. It's really not a lot of extra effort to throw somebody else's clothes in with my clothes. But if I'm the one that's going to be particular about it, then that's a chore for me. It's not something I need to bug somebody about. As Tori says, Maggie said, leave no crumbs. And I'm listening to here. Hi. All right. So I have a couple videos that I want to show that kind of denote this. The first one you're going to have to think about, and the second one, it is super obvious. But the first one, just as a setup, this is a woman who is talking about the difference between nice guys and what she refers to as hood dudes. So this will be the first time me showing a video using StreamYard. So let's hope it works. All right, let me show it.
Put me in the game, coach. As someone who has dated nice guys and hood dudes, like real hood dudes though, not the internet hood dudes who just talk real tough to the people in the suburbs and, get loud and say stuff with their chest and cuss and make all the suburban people like, oh my gosh, they're so gangster. I'm talking about real hood dudes, like maybe they had to stand before a judge a time or two, right? I've dated both. And I am going to say with my chest and be frank when I say most of you nice guys are fucking jerks. Has nothing. No, y'all love to tell the world it's just that she wants somebody who gonna rough her up. She don't want somebody who gonna treat her right. Y'all don't treat women right. You've built up this facade in your head of what treating women right is supposed to be. You told yourself, if I do this, this makes me nice, and if she don't like it, she's the villain. Like a nice guy will tell himself that women love flowers. So if I bring a woman a flower and if I bring a woman flowers and she don't like it, then she the problem. You will tell a nice guy, my love language is acts of service. So this woman, speaking of flowers, this woman will be like, I will be more appreciative if you help me carry the groceries in the house, or if you bring my trash can from off the curb when you come to visit in the afternoon so that the HOA don't come after me. Like, I'm an acts of service kind of gal. I got 50 things to do in a day. If you take one off my plate, I love it. What Young Jeezy say? And I love it, okay? But a nice guy has told himself, no, I'm not going to do that. Women love flowers. I'm going to bring her flowers and she better love it. Like, that's how nice guys move. Nice guys, right? Say you got a Brazilian steakhouse, right? And it's top of the line. Everybody loves that. All the people, when they come from out of town, they come to that steakhouse. That is it, right? A nice guy will take you to that steakhouse and expect you to roll out the red carpet for him, even if you told him, hey, actually, I'm more pescatarian. Because he's already determined that that steakhouse is it, you should love it when he takes you. He's a nice guy. Most of the nice guys that I have encountered have no interpersonal skills. They could not read the room if they paid a psychologist, a behavior interpreter, whatever. If they paid a specialist who their skill was reading body language, and they read the room for them and wrote it down and handed it to them, a nice guy still couldn't read the room. Most of the nice guys I've dated have zero emotional intelligence. None. They have already predetermined your emotions and your emotional response. And if you don't give them what they've already cooked up in their head, because you don't appreciate a good man. Be fucking for real. Most of you nice guys are only nice because you're nicer than the goofballs that surround you. Like you got a homeboy, he cheats on his girlfriend 15 times a month. You got this other dude, he's using his girlfriend for finances. You got another one where maybe he really don't like women, he just dating because he bored, so he treats the women that he's with like trash. And then you have you on the other hand. You're still a jerk, but you don't do the things that the other three do. So you told yourself you're a nice guy. That's what a lot of nice guys do. And don't let him be a nice guy who's educated. Like if he's used to being the smartest person in the room, like he's used to being the one that everybody asks questions at work or the family always calls for stuff. Don't let him be that. And you as a woman can hold your own in a conversation. Don't also be educated. Don't be equally yoked with a nice guy on any level, or he's going to instantly activate his I need to humble her. It's gonna instantly do it every single time. I'll say it before, I've said it before and I'll say it again. A lot of you nice guys are not nice at all. You are jerks. You told yourself that you before we leave.
Okay. There was a lot there, right? That's a lot. It's a lot. Now, while on one hand, I will say to women, if a man is jumping through hoops to force down your throat that he's a nice guy, like he's consistently saying, I'm a nice guy, but I'm a nice guy, but I'm a nice guy. Like actual nice guys don't feel the need to shove down your throat that they're a nice guy. Men don't generally judge each other on being a nice guy. So they don't go around saying, I'm a nice guy. They just don't. So if a guy is, really forceful with the fact that he's a nice guy, he's probably hiding something where he's not so nice. But secondarily, and I see that Toya says she put a love language chart, like what not to do for each, on her Instagram a couple hours ago. So go check that out. But something I want to point out that may not be quite so obvious is there's zero appreciation. Okay. So, yes, while you may say, hey, can you bring my garbage bins up when you come in the afternoon? Well, who wants to do chores before they even walk in the house? Like my love language is you do chores. You know what I mean? Like, but don't bring me flowers and don't take me to the Brazilian steakhouse and also they serve chicken at Brazilian steakhouse. Like, or you can ask for a fish. Like, I understand that if a guy is touting how nice he is, he's probably not, because men don't judge themselves or other men that way. But also, there's just no appreciation. You're only allowed to do for me what I tell you to do because that's my one and only love language. The way love languages works is they're actually ranked. The 5 are ranked. And now there's another one, which is being seen. So isn't it sad we live in a world where now a love language is being seen? Like, shouldn't that just be kind of part of the part and parcel of being loved? But they're ranked in order. It's not that anybody necessarily hates one of the love languages. It may not speak to them as deeply as the top ones. If my love language is physical affection, and my person calls and talks to me and tells me I love you and you're beautiful and says all these words of affirmation, right? But I'm physical touch, then it's not going to hit as much as the physical touch, but it's still going to hit, and I'm still going to be appreciative of the words of affirmation. And another point to think of with love languages is you not only need to know yours, but you need to know your person's, because it means if mine is physical touch and his is words of affirmation, then I know that when he's speaking words of affirmation, it means a lot to him to be able to do that. Or maybe it's not words or physical touch, but it is acts of service. And so to him, if he comes to my house and does a few things around my house, he hasn't said, I love you and I think you're the best in the whole wide world. And he hasn't given me, lovin's and cuddles, but I know he's speaking his love language to me. And so that should mean a lot to me, even if that's not my love language. And so there's just no appreciation there. It's like this person, whoever it is, needs acts of service only. And we just forget the rest. Do the chores, right? Let's see. Larry Nero says, I disagree with the last part. You don't have to announce yourself like Darkwing Duck. Darkwing Duck. Okay. Toya says, what's with this race to denigrate men who even show interest? It's ridiculous. This guy's taking her to a Brazilian steakhouse and buying her flowers. What a jerk. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, who hates flowers so much? How can I hate flowers? Flowers are pretty. And even if, you don't need flowers or you think, flowers are just going to die, whatever. Somebody going to the flower shop, picking out flowers, spending their money on them to bring them to you? Come on. And you're going to say, well, you didn't do the chores that I asked you to do. That's crazy. Leon008 says, my opinion about nice guys is pretty simple. They attempt to play nice, but a woman is well aware he is nice simply because he wants sex. Outside of that, he is not nice. Man, there are men like that, right? There's crappy women, there's crappy men, and there are men like that. Totally get it. Larry Nero says, break it down. Even if you hate them, it's the act of consideration. BGS, can you say more about that? Maybe I'll have you up when I'm done playing these videos. Larry Nero says, we have to respect other people's view from their lens. What a thing to say, right? Just like I was saying, you have to understand your person's love language too, and theirs are ranked too. So they're going to have their top 3. You're going to have your top 3. And it's not that we hate them. Oh, flowers. Yes. Flowers are the act of consideration. Hi, BGS. And thank you for coming in. You're thinking of me. You literally thought of me and then put effort towards that. Man, that's nice. That's so nice. How does that, I'm listening, says that doesn't make him crappy, right? And she's calling these guys jerks. She says the Brazilian restaurant, right? It opens up, it's the new it place. And you told him you're kind of pescatarian and he thinks you should appreciate him taking you to the new it place. Yes, you should be appreciative. It's the new it place, right? And he says, let me take my woman there. This is the new it place. Everybody's talking about it. Let me take my woman there. Maybe he really likes Brazilian steak. And there's a lot of other things there you can eat, but because you're pescatarian, he's a jerk, right? So this next one I want to show really plays into it's joke and it's satire. But the thing is, you can see the reality in the video that I'm getting ready to show about women forgot how to love men. Now they are trying to parent men. All right, let me get this one going.
I actually do. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good job, buddy. Did you go poop too?
Yeah.
You get another. Just remember, we're not buying anything at the store today. No toys. Stay away from the cars.
This is getting old.
Remember, don't touch, just look.
God. Snackies?
Yeah. Do you want me to take a picture and I'll send it to Santa? Should we send Santa this one too?
Yeah, send this one to Santa.
You found the big boy tools.
Show you a big boy tool.
Like a hammer?
Yeah.
You know what? You go down this one all by yourself, but stay where you can see me. I love you. Love you so much.
People are so dumb.
Here, blow out the candles. 3. Blow it out. 1. You feel better? Do you need more candles?
I'm good. I'm good.
We could call Grandma. You love that.
Your grandma?
Grandpa's home from work.
Let's call Grandpa.
Okay. Here, Grandpa wants to know what you did today.
You actually called him.
Hey, bud, what you doing today?
Hey, bud.
I think men love more authentically than women.
Okay. You saw a little clip of the next one. Excuse me. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about, yes, it's satire and she's being funny. But the other thing is, even in the way she puts little comments in there, like he's amused, he's turned on, he's secretly appreciative, like, and on the back of a lot of the videos that we see that women put out are saying things like, you know, he's got to pay my bills and he's got to fix stuff around my house and he's got to do things for me and he's got to take care of me and he's got to, you know, give, right? Kind of like the sprinkle lady, which always makes me want to reply, drizzle. So when we look at what's out there and what women are saying that they want from men, it sounds like they want a child, right? Now, I saw some other videos that I didn't have time to pull up, but they're now talking about wanting men to submit to their authority. So tell me that's not somebody who wants to parent a man, right? Now, whether at this moment, I'm going to say whether you believe in leadership and submission roles, you know, the kind of conservative roles, or traditional roles, whether or not you believe in them, especially if you don't believe in them, actually, then why would you want a man to submit to you? Like, if it's not okay for a woman to be submissive, then why do you want a man to be submissive? I thought that was wrong. But secondarily, why do you, if you want to be in a relationship with another adult human being, you don't need the man to submit to your authority. Like that says, I want to be the parent in my household. And I don't know about you or other women who are here in the chat, but who literally wants that? Like, to have responsibility. And I'm just talking to the women, okay? Because I know traditional roles, yes, and we're going to talk about that. But who wants to take on responsibility of another full-grown adult? Like, you're an adult, right? But we don't want to trust that a man is going to do what he needs to do, or that he's going to take care of us the way that we need to be taken care of, or that he's going to do the right thing, or we just don't like the way they do anything. And so we are the parent, we are in charge. You do what I say, period. And so that's why I say women have forgotten how to love a man. And some of it has to do with, we threw out all the traditional gender roles and we said, women, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. And nobody ever said, well, then how do I be in a relationship? We said this relationship's okay, and this relationship's okay, and this is okay, and this is okay. And we kept saying everything is okay. And for the most part, everything is okay, right? Everything is okay. But because we didn't want to foray back into that like wife school, submission, traditional roles kind of thing, we forgot what to teach our daughters on how to be in a relationship. We forgot to teach them compromise and collaboration and communication and oh Lord, taking feedback and taking direction and taking leadership when needed. Like, we just kept telling them you can do everything and you can be everything. And a lot of us heard that, you know, you can be everything and you can do everything. And we didn't really hear the whole part about how do we be in relationship, right? And so many of our parents are divorced. We didn't even see how to be in a relationship. Or maybe we had multiple step parents in and out. We never had the role modeling. And so women have forgotten how to actually love a man. It's kind of sad. Okay. All right. Leon's giving BGS a hard time. BGS says mother is a position of power. Yeah, that's what they're told, right? Um, because in a lot of households, because there were so many divorces, there's a lot of single mothers, right? And so we learned that mother is the ultimate authority. And so now when women are trying to get in a relationship, they want that ultimate authority. And so they behave like a mother, right? Toya says we're supposed to nurture, but not mother. Exactly. You can be supportive, you can be nurturing, you can be helpful, you can actually guide a little bit too without mothering. Like say, "Hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that?" Or "I think you're wrong here and let's have a conversation." It's not about correction, it's about communication. It's about nurturing and being helpful and supportive, right? Leon says they want to be worshipped like a goddess. Well, I mean, who doesn't? But if you're a goddess, you need a god, right? You don't need worshipers, right? Who wants that? Adrix says submit, dominatrix, no thanks. Yeah, it was starting to sound a little BDSM light. Larry says in this era, women want men to be a pet, maybe for control or manipulation, or based on passed down or learned knowledge. Yeah, it's like they don't know what to do with them. I saw a video a while back that was like, it was a jokey, kind of funny video, but it was like, I got this boyfriend. What do I do with them? Like, how often do I feed them? Can I give them water after midnight? Can I, it was a jokey thing, but there's kind of some truth there, because we're just, as women, we're so scared to move into anything that might even possibly look like traditional roles. When I thought the whole point was that we were all allowed to do what we wanted to do. But for some reason, feminism says you can't be traditional or you're anti-feminist. But I thought the whole point was we could do what we wanted to do. Something to think about. Toya says, bars, Maggie. Thank you, Toya. Leon says, independent rules suck. I give both sets of grandparents power over my, I think you mean son, for example. So the power is split between the 6 of us. It's a benefit to my overall health. Isn't that great when grandparents are involved? When, you got some grandpas for some things and some grandmas for some things and mom for some stuff and dad for some stuff. And as long as at the end of the day, mom and dad are the ones in charge. Like sometimes grandparents get involved and they don't want to take direction from the child's parents. They're just like, no, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I did it to you and, look at you, you're fine. So otherwise it's great. All right. Lavaris is in here. Hi, good to see you. A watered down man can't have an effect on society, and it shows by what we see today and just something about a lion's roar versus a cat, Larry Nero says. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to talk about with women, that we've lost the art of loving. And so we may dig into that some more. I may do a few videos for women on the art of loving, right? Without losing yourself, without losing who you are. It's like authentic art of loving. But there was 2 things in this title. So the other one is men, and that men run from real love. So we're going to talk about that. All right, let me pull this one up. I'm going to have to put the video back just a little bit. There we go.
You actually called
Hey,
him.
bud, what you do today?
Hey, bud.
I think men love more authentically than women.
Huh?
Oh, and this is what I mean by that.
You said say that again.
I say I think men
I had to
love
adjust.
more authentically than women. And this is why.
I can agree, but go ahead.
Women are in love with love.
Yes.
And because of that, I think you guys are wired to stick anybody in that spot. You can make him fit. You guys are socialized from little girls to fall in love with the process, the pageantry of love, the courting phase and the dates and the, you know what I'm saying? He put his hand on my thigh and we walked down the aisle and all that stuff. On the flip side, when a man figures out or realizes that he's in love, that's not a happy experience. He's like, God damn it. Because that is a responsibility.
He's telling the truth.
Now, because again, our two jobs are provide and protect. I love her means that I'm willing to die for her. That's not part of your responsibility. Right. So we're not going to be as flippant or as, generous with that love. Plus, we're not socialized to fall in love with the whole process and shit like that.
Curious, when you
Okay. What do you think? So some of you may have seen that when I go into comment section times on people's lives and they're talking about relationships, you will see me comment that a woman is a liability to a man and her assets have to offset that fact. And it's, feminism would say, absolutely not. But here's the thing, whether people want to agree with this or not. When a man and a woman get in a relationship, a woman gains by that relationship. She gains another income for the household. She gains protection when she's out in public. She gains protection even when he's not with her if she has a ring on her finger that other men can see. She gains, all of that, the provider, the protection, the helper at home, the father, she gains. Now, she may gain more house duties, housework, those kind of things. But in general, when you look at research, men help around the house. I mean, some people divide it a little bit differently, like men will do the outside chores and women will do the inside chores, or men will work on cars and do the yard work and women will do, the laundry and house cleaning. Like, people divide them differently, but in general, research shows that men aren't just sitting on their tushies all the time, right? So she does gain. I mean, and that it's just a fact, whether women want to deal with that or not. She gains. Now, in what she gains, he is taking on a liability. The provision, the protection, the doing for, this is more duty for him. And so you listen to this guy, and I think most men would agree that this is true, that when you realize that you're in love with a woman or she's the one, I want to marry her, I want to think about how men act right before they get married. Am I making the right decision? Is she the right one? Can I do this? Will I be a good husband? Can I be a good father? They take on responsibility, and a woman becomes a liability, because if he's just out and about in the community by himself and people are acting foolish, he can just walk around. But if he's out and about with his woman and people are acting foolish, now he's responsible for his physical safety and hers. Right? Even if she can carry her own, women cannot win fights against men. I'm sorry. So he has to take on a liability. And so he has to believe in her assets. Like, what is she bringing to me? Like, is she going to be a great mother to our children? Does she bring me peace? Is her vibe just so good? Is she funny and smart? Does I just enjoy her company? Do I love being around her? He has to think about who she is as a person. And I think that's where he gets that men love more authentically, because they're not out here trying to fall in love. right? And they have to look at the woman in totality. Now, I know a lot of times men are talking about this one's pretty and that one's this, and men are visual creatures, and that's fine. It's okay, and everybody wants something nice to look at. But I think men have to look at the totality of the woman and what she has, what she brings to his life, how that's going to be for him before he decides to go all in. And I would bet, and men can correct me in the chat, I would bet that men have fallen in love with women and still walked away because her asset to him did not offset her liability, which is unfortunate, right? Because women are in love with love. We grew up reading the stories about the princess and they lived happily ever after and all these things. And, the boys were reading things about war and fighting and swordplay. And, they were indoctrinated to see the world as a dangerous place. So, because their spot was supposed to be, protection. All right. Larry Nero says, I'm all ears for this one. And BGS is true. Liana OA, I just think a lot of people don't know how to accept love. Yeah, especially if you've been burned, right? Like, it's hard. Leon says the dishwasher is amazing and the washer and dryer, right? Like, thank God we don't have to hand wash stuff anymore. Now, I'm a little particular, so there are certain things I wash before they go in the dishwasher. Adric says, am I going to die for her? And then he takes off. All right. Timekeeper says this channel is going to blow up. Oh, that was very nice to say. Thank you so much. Leon says, I walked away 2 times. One woman didn't want children. Right. That's an asset that you need in your life. If she doesn't want that, then we walk away. So I was wasting my time, and the other couldn't hold a pregnancy, and I walked away, right? Like, and we can feel for the person that we love, but we all get to decide what we want in our life. Nobody else gets to dictate that for us. That's just not how things work. And if you are listening to what everybody else tells you what your life should look like, and that's not what you want, then you can feel for the woman, you can feel horrible for the woman, you can, love her and remain friends with her and wish her all the best. And the same for women leaving men. If this is what we want for our life, it's totally fine to say so. So it under the same guise of men loving, and I'm not 100% sold on that just in general men love more authentically, but this is an idea that I think we can look at. There's just no research that says one way or the other, but the way he presents it makes sense. Let's look at something else. Let me pull this back just a little bit.
Curious, when you've been dating someone that they are actually in love with you? Are there clear signs that someone truly loves you?
Such a good question. So I spoke to Helen Fisher, who is someone who definitely doesn't need my amplification. She's very famous, but she's, I would say, the world-leading expert in romantic love, understands it top to bottom, right? And what she told me is that the best proxy that we have, right? So there's all these symptoms of romantic love, but the most, if we're talking about in love, like acutely in love, the symptom that you're looking for is obsessive thinking. Thinking about them all the time.
Obsessive thinking. Who wants that? I'm sorry. Like, okay, we can say that's a symptom, but actually in psychology, what we call that is limerance, which is where you're over romanticizing something real. So something in its reality is one way, and then you're becoming obsessive about it and you're thinking about it all the time and you're over romanticizing it. That's called limerance. And unfortunately, women do that a lot. women will meet somebody new and they're like, oh, he's great. He's the one. We're going to get married. We're going to have children and our wedding's going to be in Central Park. And they start planning the wedding, I think men may notice that they're thinking about women more, and possibly it starts to feel a bit obsessive. Um, because something that men talk about is the way you're in love is that all of a sudden you want her to be okay. Like you want to protect her, you want things to be okay, you want to do things for her or help her out where needed. And so maybe there's a bit of obsessive thinking in that way. But my concern is that that's called limerence, and obsessive anything is probably not okay. We don't want that. Okay. All right. Larry Nero says, love resides in both, but like Toya said, y'all are nurturers. So love from a woman maybe will be a bit more potent than men, but men just want to know if the love is true. It's a difference from running. I get that. I mean, if you look at men loving more authentically and being kind of like, when they realize they're in love, they're like, ugh. When women realize they're in love, they're like, yay. They want to dance through a field of flowers. And, it's very, because we're in love with love, right? When men realize they're in love, it's like, shit. Now I'm going to want to take care of her. I'm going to want to do for her. I'm going to want to make sure she's okay. I'm going to want to, so I think if we look at that, then we can understand why sometimes when couples are communicating and a woman is saying, I want to know that you love me. I want you to tell me that you love me. I want you to show me that. And he's like, I'm here, aren't I? I hear that a lot when I'm working with couples, that men will be like, I'm here. And she's like, and you live here. So the thing is that if men are loving in this way, then him showing up is him saying, I'm putting in the effort to take this responsibility every single day. Now, does that mean he doesn't need to speak her love language or like collaborate and communicate and compromise with her on what she needs? No, I'm not saying that at all. But I think we can be appreciative of that fact, right? And men can understand that at times they may walk away from love because the liability and the assets are not equal. Oh, BGS says emotional labor. Exactly. All right, so now I'm going to play a couple more videos about love because I really want to know what people think about this. I loved this next one, probably because it's a little up my alley. And I did post it on the Patreon to get feedback on it. So this one about love's pretty interesting.
You guys have to stop asking, what do you bring to the table? Because what table? Bitch, what table? You don't have a table. I don't have a table. None of us have a table anymore. Have you guys not been paying attention? The question you should actually be asking is, what do you bring to the revolution? Because even if we had a table, where are we going to put it? Where's it going to go? In the house that we can't afford, or the apartment we pay 3 times the normal price to rent from a fucking hedge fund? What goes on this table? Food that's poisonous and illegal everywhere else in the fucking world? When do we get to sit down at it? At 10 o'clock at night when we get off our second jobs because our government refuses to regulate a livable fucking wage? Maybe we can have a nice conversation with our children about how they properly guess the right multiple choice answer while narrowly avoiding a fucking school shooting. We can set our hypothetical table with the fine china your mother left us after dying at age 50 fucking 3 of heart disease because she can't afford health care or fucking medicine for that matter. And if we're really fucking lucky, we can wheel in Gramps in between his chemotherapy treatments because he spent a lifetime time, eating red dye and inhaling mesothelioma. You know, we got bigger fish to fry than can you even cook? Yes, darling, yes, I can fry you up some nice carcinogen sticks and pour you some diabetic go-go juice after a long day of surviving this dystopian circle jerk. Let's focus on gender roles and not the fact that I have perfect aim with the long shot fucking rifle, because that's what matters in a society where it requires 2 incomes to eat poisonous food while living in a polarized, propagated, overpriced hellscape, right?
I mean, she's not necessarily lying, but here's the thing. I don't play to the margins, you know? While, yes, there's a lot of work being done about a revolution and things like, I want to be careful what I say with YouTube, you know? The videos are already saying a lot of curse words and things like that. But I liked how she kind of brought in some other focus, right? Like if your focus is on doing advocacy and all these kind of things, then maybe that's not the type of relationship that you want. It kind of goes back to when I talked about bids and offers. You know, what level are you on? What bids are you seeking and what are you offering? You know, she's maybe on the moon with hers. I don't exactly know where she is on the chart, but I did think it was funny the way that she was saying that. Now, that being said, most of us are in the middle. And regardless of if there's an entire revolution going on out here and the advocacy work that we do and all the crazy stuff and the unhealthy food, and we know all those things, when we walk into our home, it needs to be a sanctuary. It needs to be the sanctum. And so if somebody asks if you can cook, it's because by God, when they're out there doing all that stuff and having to deal with all that stuff, they'd kind of like to come home and have a nice meal. And maybe, just maybe, they're asking if you can cook because they don't want to cook every single night, or because they don't cook. And if you don't cook, we got to figure this out. Not necessarily woman, me, man, and you have to cook for me. You know, I know a lot of men who can cook better than I can, and I think I can cook pretty well. So, you know, I don't think that's always what it is, but I just thought it was kind of cute. I think she has some other videos where she kind of loses it, but I liked that one. Yeah, BGS says move to the third world. Yeah, some of those first world problems, right? Adrica Boy says she's definitely in the game. She's competing, but discouraging her competition, in my honest opinion. Well, her bids and offers are a little woo-woo. So this last video that I want to play is something that I want people's opinions on, because I need to figure out if I'm romanticizing what this person is saying, because it sounds great to me. So I want to see what you guys think.
I believe in something called dark love. If it can't be me and you against the world, I'm not the guy for you. Dark love to me is the world could hate us, the world could be burning down, and we'd be slow dancing in a burning room. And if I can't have love like that, then I don't want love at all.
Okay, so what do you guys think about that? I don't know if that's dark love or, you know, but that's what he calls it, right? Where the love is that it's you and me against the world, right? So whatever compromise we come to in our home, or how we want to set up how we do things and what the roles are, and who cooks and who does the laundry and who works, and you know, our schedule, and are we going to have kids, and what does that look like? Whatever we decide for us is for us. And that is tight. That agreement is tight. And we stick by that and we abide by that. And it's you and me against the world. Again, I don't know if that's dark love or if that's just what love should be. That if we are going to, you know, biblically, they said leave and cleave, right? If we're going to leave and cleave to each other, then we're it. You know, we are together. Okay. Timekeeper says dark love is also if I can't have you, no one can. Okay, well that that maybe we don't necessarily want to go there. Larry Nero says a little fluff, but I get him. Yeah, I get that. Hey, Dr. Johnson's in the building. Hi, Dr. Johnson. Says it can feel like that in long relationships. Some years can seem to require that darkness. Yeah, I get that. In the way that you're saying it, I think, because it just made me think about like in long relationships, sometimes you're kind of sick of each other. You kind of had enough and you're on each other's nerves, but it's you and me. Like, I know you and I know you know me. And even though we're kind of on each other's nerves, it's us, us against the world. I think when that separation starts to happen where you don't feel so connected to your person, you don't feel like it's you and me, then that's where the problems start to happen, right? That's where contempt starts to come in. That's where contempt starts. And so John and Julie Gottman from the Gottman Institute, who studied couples for like 40 years, said there's something called the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse of a relationship. And the first one is contempt. So for them, the 4 horsemen show up on the way to divorce. And number 1 is having contempt. So if it's not you and me, then I'm going to get bitter and contemptuous against you because it's not you and me anymore. Adra Kapoy says, dark love sounds dangerous. Well, when you take into account what Timekeeper said, it does start to sound a little dangerous, right? And Timekeeper says, and I do get it honestly, but that's dangerous for both parties and sounds unhealthy. And maybe that's where I'm like, I want the it's you and me, I want that to be the thing where every partnership, every relationship, every marriage it's them. At the end of the day, it's them. And so maybe I'm hearing it a bit different, especially when you say what dark love is, that if I can't have you, no one can, because that sounds really dangerous and unhealthy. So I wouldn't want to do that. Oh, Ian wants to know if BGS can cook like Dr. T. Maybe we need a cooking show. Wouldn't that be nice? Some nice recipes. I need to add some recipes in. Hi, James. Thanks for coming in. Shiva says, what I heard from him was a selfish love centered around the extended self, not caring about anything but you and yours. Oh, okay. Okay. Like, not just that it's you and me against the world, like we're going to make this work together, but like it's only you and me. Like, F everybody else. Okay. I can see that. Yeah. Hi, Lloyd. Thanks for coming in. He said, without certain other factors, then it just sounds like struggle love and trauma bonding. I get that. Yeah, especially if on your bids and offers, if you're coming in at the physiological and it's you and me against the world, then it starts to sound a bit nihilistic, doesn't it? Like, we're going to burn the whole thing. That's why it was called dark love. Okay, now I get it. Because, if I had to, my bids and offers are going to be at a much different place than physiological. Yeah, Shiva says me, my wife, my kids, and so on. Yeah, I get that. BGS says no one cooks like Dr. T. Well, prove it. Kidding. Oh, Dr. Johnson says that BGS has other people do that for him, like the taco truck. Most of us know about the taco truck, right? Sounds more like Bonnie and Clyde love. Yeah. Okay. See, I needed you guys to explain what dark love was, right? Because from my perspective, I'm thinking like 2 healthy people who are compromising and setting up their love story, and they're in full partnership and together and making decisions. And I wasn't really hearing the dark part of it. So thank you guys for explaining that. I needed that. Okay. So that was all the videos. And look, we hit right at, just almost at an hour. I appreciate everybody coming in. I don't know if anybody wants to come up and talk about it, I can try to figure out how to invite people because I just don't know. Let's see. Nope, that was not it. Let's see. Invite. Look how easy they make it. Copy. And paste. Look. I'm going to try to make this work. Timekeeper says, yeah, the word dark threw me off. Yeah, me too. Me too. Okay. Thank you, BGS. Invite, copy link. We got it. Lavar says, have you read the book called The Science of Love by John Baines? The Science of Love. It sounds really familiar, but it's not coming up for me. But the name sounds super familiar. I'm going to have to think on that one. We may have to talk about that one, Lavaris, because I don't know. I don't know if I have. Now let's hope I know when somebody tries to come up into the chat. Now that I put the link in, hopefully something pops up and says, hey, this person's in here. That would be nice. All right. Oh. Look at that. I did it.
You did it. And you're a girl.
I know. I figured it out. How you doing, BGS?
I'm doing good.
Good.
This kind of stuff just tickles me, especially about love. Love and marriage are two different things. And in the old world, in old Europe, they separated love and marriage. Okay, marriage is about duty to family, to kids, to your extended family, to your group, right? Whereas love, that's individual. Okay, those two things aren't necessarily mixed. I always say that most guys don't marry the woman that they really love. The woman they love the most, that's 9 times out of 10, that's not the woman that they marry, because that's going to put you at a disadvantage.
So it's the asset, the liability versus
The
the asset.
liability, yeah. And just because you love somebody, because I have a thing I call the thunderbolt, which is the instant attraction. Okay, and just because you love somebody, you get together, doesn't mean all the parts are going to fit as far as a long-term relationship.
So it's that like walking away.
Yeah. And yeah, basically it's walking away because you love her, you got that feeling for her, you're attracted to all the little, electrodes go off in your brain, neurons fire and all that kind of crap. But the thing is, when you get down to everyday business, it doesn't work.
Now, okay, I'm trying to think of your box theory, and haven't I heard you say like a lot of times men may love their
Jump off.
sidekick more than their wife?
Yes, that happens all the time. In fact, I'll give you an example. This I was just looking at this with Dune, right? With the series Dune? You ever seen the movie? Okay, okay. At the end, right? Okay. If you ever read the book, I don't know if you ever read the book Dune. Okay.
No.
At the end, right? Remember, he chose to marry Princess Aurelian, right? Because that's his duty as a duke. Okay. Okay. But he loved Cheney. That's who he loved. But the thing is, look, I said I love you to death, and if you read the books, she had his children. But the thing is that I'm a king, okay? I have to rule a galaxy, and these are the steps as my duty as a duke, as a king. I have to do this, okay? And that's separate from my love for you.
Yeah, it seems like that's, especially in ancient times, not necessarily Dune, but, there were concubines. Men would have concubines whom they loved and cared for because their wife was chosen
for him,
to intermarry families and for bloodlines and things like that.
Yeah. In fact, for most of the world, I was just I was going through the 4B movement and learning about Koreans how they marry and stuff like that. Most
Mhm.
Korean men and women really don't even know each other until they get married. They're picked for 'em. Yeah,
Not
because
interesting.
well, we think it's bad because it's about because number one, we're not trained for it. Okay,
Yeah.
uh, in their society, and this is something that most traditional societies, which I emphasize all the time, for passport bros. Okay, it's not about it's about the training. Like men ask, can a woman cook? Okay, and the reason that is coming from a traditional society, from traditional parents, right? It's not
Mhm.
about whether she can cook or not. It's how did her mother train her? Did her mother
Oh, I see.
train did her mother train her to take care of a house? Okay. Did her
Mhm.
mother train her to take care of children? Did her mother train her how to take care of a family? Like people saying, I get this crap that women aren't prepared and this society aren't prepared to even get married till they're 35, right?
Mhm.
But in traditional society, she can get married at 13. Why is that? Because she's been trained from a small child when she first walk.
Yeah.
Your wife how to take care of family, whether she does it or not. Okay, she doesn't have to get married. The thing is, she's trained to do it. So when you plug her into a family, like when my mother and father got together, right? My mother's trained to be a wife. My father was trained to be a husband. Okay, didn't matter. Okay, whether they liked each other or not, you put them together. He does his job, she does her job. The family works.
Mhm.
Okay, because it's standardized. And what we've done, for what feminism has done, is erase all that. Now, every marriage, every relationship has to be tailor made.
Well, and it makes you think about, just like you were talking about arranged marriages, like in India,
Hmm.
they have arranged marriages where the
Yes.
parents all get together and they make the decision, and then studies show that arranged marriages last longer. That when you marry for love, that ends in divorce more often.
Yeah, that's what 55%. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, looks like Ian's trying to come up, so I'm gonna let him come up and see what he has to say. Looks like you're muted, Ian.
Oh, hello, hello. How you
Hello.
doing?
Good.
Yeah. I just followed BGS in here. We'll follow him
The
anyway.
hanger's
So
on.
Because I heard this stuff like 30 years ago, right? When it went from psychologists, right? The new wave psychologists, marriage 2.0, and everybody's gonna have the freedom to do what they want and figure out how they're gonna arrange their marriage. I said, okay. I said, you know what? This stuff is not gonna work. It's not gonna work. It's gonna fall flat on its face. And they said, why? I said, you can't. People can't even unless you're gonna send all these kids to be a psychologist like Maggie, right? That can sit down and put each other on the couch
Mhm.
and negotiate this, which you are not, then the average Joe that can't even figure out how to pay their own bills or figure out how to correct their own lives, gonna figure out how to come together with a person they never met or wasn't raised exactly the same, and come together and raise kids without a whole bunch of conflict. Doesn't work. That's why.
but
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
my question is to the title because
Mhm.
she says women. I need to go back and look at it. Women don't know, have forgotten how to love. Is that what it said?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh, and you said men run away from real love. So my question is, what is the definition of real love? Right? Because I have a lot of ideas about it myself.
Yeah. I had to go to being nice to actually learn what real love is. And Carolyn Messier said it very well a long time ago. I actually use it with my children. Real love is giving and loving without the necessity of an outcome.
Right. Without any expectation of return.
Yes, a return. That's real.
Mhm.
Okay, and that's very
So
difficult.
Well,
I
why
think
why would men run from that, Maggie?
so. First of all, I want to preface what I'm going to say with I purposefully made the title a little baby. So that's number one. Number two, it's not necessarily about running from real love. It's that if men are to love authentically, then they're going to be more apt to walk away from love that doesn't bring an asset. Like
True.
it's the love is not enough you know, and I think men in general are more grounded, you know, more problem solving, responsibility focused. And so they may love somebody, but that's no reason to marry them. You know, they may just want to spend time with them because they love them. And so it's not necessarily where I'm like, you know, men are running from every time they fall in love, but more like love isn't any reason to change your dynamic. It's not any reason to marry a woman. Whereas for women, if they are in love with a man, then that's the reason to get married. So it's more about walking away, Ian, than running swiftly.
Oh, okay. But the thing is, I think that could be true. But I think the thing is, yeah, I think men require respect, and they respect women. They expect women to have some practical skills. But here's the thing, though. No, my thing is this: the majority women are very intelligent these days, right? I used to see, young women, particularly young Black women, I used to call them genius, because you would talk to them and you would see the things that they do. It's just like off the cuff, without training, they would just figure things out. So, I mean, for me, that's not an issue because I think the majority of women have the ability to do things of benefit that benefit men outside of love. The question for me is, are they willing to do it?
Depends on how they're trained, and depends on the return on investment.
Yeah, I think as far as like women as a whole, because I will talk on women as a whole, not on specific women, but women as a whole, you know, we've been trained in modern times to know ourselves. Like, what do I want? What do I want my life to look like? Who am I? What are my quirks? What are the things I need? What do I don't want? You know, what do I want my life to look like? Like, that's what we're trained, like, to look within and to get to know ourselves and to accept ourselves and love ourselves. But it was kind of like the instructions stopped there. And so we got the so within without, and we didn't ever get the so without. You know, what was the purpose of getting to know ourselves so much and identifying all of this about us? The purpose wasn't stated, right? And so we have very westernized women who are self-centered.
And they still don't know themselves.
Right. Because they're also listening to other women tell them about women. So they think it's true about themselves. Somebody says women are emotionally intelligent, and then the woman goes, I am emotionally intelligent.
Yes, they do. They say it all the time. Yes.
Right. So I think we didn't get the second part. Like, what was the whole point of knowing my love language and knowing what I like and knowing? And so what happens is westernized women will then shove that down a man's throat. Like, this is my love language. This is how you behave. This is what I like. This is what I want. This is how I need. This is, and then they end up mothering their person.
Yeah, I always tell guys, if she's gonna come to you like that with those demands, you say, how much does the job pay?
Right. Like,
if you're gonna demand, I'm supposed to serve you up. How much does it pay?
Well, you know, giving you a job description at that point.
It is, and a lot of guys, a lot of men, and this might be an aside. A lot of guys that I've read about how come they don't date anymore. It's like going on a job interview now. It's not fun anymore.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's really not.
Well, you know, I was gonna say too that, like I said, and even white women, right? Because
even white women, like they're a different species, but black women are a different animal. I will say that they're Klingons, okay, and white women are Betazoids. So yeah, that's true.
We're all bonobos. Okay.
Oh no!
but I have a lot. I mean, the reality is I have a lot of admiration for the female species, right? And because you see them on a day in, day out basis do the things that they do, sometimes with training, sometimes without training. What I've discovered, what I've seen, what I've came to understand is that men need women because men are very logical and make logical assessments in life and majority of the areas of their life, even in their social life, different things like that. But women, they are feelings based. So what happens is you put that together with a man who's logic based. He doesn't see how to get a business off the ground and whatever. You bring this woman in who's feeling based. She disregards all logical assessment and just pushes ahead
She believes in
like
him.
a, huh?
She believes in him. Yeah.
Yeah. She just pushes ahead like a damn bulldozer or something, right? And it's like
The 92s. Yeah.
yeah,
They all don't
and
do
it
that.
just and would just be unstoppable to make sure because my brother has a Mexican wife like that, right? I mean his daughter now is I don't know is rich, you know what I'm saying? She's getting calls from Shaq to date her, and you know what I'm saying? I mean the thing is we need that practical and that belief in ourselves, but unfortunately the society has told women, because you have freedom, right? And somehow women have been taught to believe that freedom comes through self and independence, when in actuality, as we know through history, and BGS can tell you, freedom comes with association with other people, right? And I think that's where women put their feelings into themselves instead of real freedom, which is putting investing in your man and into
Yeah.
the surrounding society.
Women talk independence, and they actually rely on the system and other people to function. They talk independence, but they're not independent
Right,
at
like,
all.
women don't tend to, in the majority, grow up as little girls going, "When I grow up, I want to be a mid-level supervisor of an accounting firm and go to work every day and struggle to pay my bills. Yay." Like, that's not generally what little girls think about, but I do wanna say, about freedom, because and I hate to sound like the TikTok gal, about what do you bring to the revolution, but none of us are free. I mean, none of us are free to do what we want.
No, we actually are, and I had to say that to a young man that talked about freedom. I said, nobody stops you from walking out to the middle of the woods and never being seen again. That's freedom. You can do that if you want to.
You
Okay.
can do that if you want to.
So why do you stay amongst people, okay, and want freedom when freedom is right around the corner? The freest people on the planet in the United States are homeless people. Okay, anything they want, go wherever they want. They don't depend on anybody until they beg. But why do they stay
Well,
attached to
there's
human
a
beings?
lot of laws coming down on homeless people. I mean, that's a lot of who I see at the
Yeah,
crisis center, and
yeah,
now there's so many, like, the
yeah, yeah,
loitering laws and the
yeah,
trespass laws, and so they really, I mean, it's getting to where they can't
yeah,
go anywhere or do anything. But
yeah.
I think it's more for me when I say nobody's free.
Nobody's free. No, by we are social creatures. We evolved that way for
Mhm,
survival. Okay, there's no
mhm.
human being. There's very few human beings actually in the middle of nowhere by themselves. Okay.
Right, right. And I think we forget that too, that we are social creatures, that
Mm,
we are intended to pair bond. That is
mm,
part of our
yeah.
biology.
Mm-hmm.
We're not intended to, excuse my language, but to be a boss bitch and, I got all this on my own and all
Yeah.
that. Like, we're
How
not we're not intended for that.
how are you a boss bitch without people following you?
Right. I'm the boss of
I'm of what of
the
myself.
children.
Even that you're attached to somebody. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not by yourself. Okay. You're not a maverick in the middle of nowhere. You know, building your little wooden cabin and chopping your own wood and going hunting for your meat. You're not doing that.
That sounds terrible. That sounds
Well,
terrible.
you know, women.
Some guys do that though. There's
I
mostly
know.
men that do that. Yeah.
Mostly guys. So you don't
Yeah.
see a lot of survivalist women. They're like, nah.
You don't see women out there saying, "I'm gonna get off the grid by myself." Okay.
So women see well for those women who do see freedom through relationships and it's not really getting a return, they're only seeing freedom through the empowerment of other women. So they like on Twitter, there was a lady from an HBCU.
Yeah.
And it went viral. Yeah, you know about it. It went viral. She was like, I'm not going to help any black males. She's a black woman. I'm not going to help. I'm not going to write any. What are those to get into college? The you want to get
letters.
Yeah.
Letter. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I'm not going to write any letters for males to get into schools. I'm only focused on women and empowerment type of thing. So I think a lot of them have gone that way in terms of freedom, and they don't see the men as actual road to that freedom in terms of social relationship.
But they ask for those men when they get to marrying age, right? After they've gotten their degrees and whatnot, and then they're 28, 29, 30 looking for their counterpart. Like they're just supposed to magically show up. Women believe in magical thinking. I'm gonna manifest my husband, but no, you're the same woman that wouldn't help that little boy uh, get into college, or help that little boy tutor that little boy to get his grades better. So all those men were never grown. So now you get to be 30. Where are they? Because you didn't plant them. Okay, it's like asking for food. You didn't plant the seeds in the garden. It's not going to be there. So
I'm going to interrupt for a second because I want to thank Daryl Davis for the Cash App. So thank you for the Cash App for the good luck.
Keep them in. $1 holler. BGS taxes in effect. Okay.
And Dr. Johnson says, well, some of the retirees I know are the freest people I've ever met. And if you think about, that's really the only time you can be truly free is when you don't have to work anymore. When we're not tied to the machine, when there's enough money to do that, right? But then there's a lot of people who have to work until they're 85 and in the ground, right? Like, you're going to show up late to your funeral because you had to finish your shift kind of stuff. Like, there's a lot of people who have to work until their dying breath, right? But if you were able to have a pension or have a retirement plan, have some kind of retirement option, that money creates freedom. And as we see in this world, the wealthiest people who are not tied to the machine in that way are pretty free people. So I guess the saying is true, money does buy happiness, because it does make you free.
It can make you freer, but you're still tied to the machine, because the same thing that can make your wealth can disintegrate if you don't watch over it. Like you're a billionaire in America and America falls, guess what happens to your money? It's gone.
Well, that's all well and good, except for when you're taught to be a Marxist and you don't believe that money is important at any age.
Well, if you have a society where money's not important, you're going to build it. That's fine. But the thing is, guess what? Guess what the Chinese say? They're the biggest socialist country in the world, right? Marxism doesn't work. If you're taught it, it's never been made practical. So if you're taught to be a Marxist and money doesn't matter, okay, good luck with that. Especially
every society in history is built upon a market.
Yes.
There has to be a market. So every time there's been any type of society, there's some kind of market system.
Yep.
And, our money the paper money was a replacement for the gold. So we wouldn't trade gold. Now it's not backed by the reserve, but it was money is just a replacement. Coinage is just a replacement. Paper money is just a replacement that's backed by something.
It's a representation of labor and of goods and services rendered. That's what it's a representation of. It even says it on the back of your money, for goods and services. To be is it a medium of exchange? That's all it is. But No society. All it is a medium of exchange so society can get together and negotiate and cooperate. That's all it is.
And
It's not. Go ahead.
that's why BLM, the ladies who bought mansions and spent $6 million on parties or whatever,
And
off
we're
the
gonna
backs
wait. We're
of
gonna wait. We're gonna way beyond the topic. But go ahead. Okay, so don't stray too
No,
far. Okay.
listen. Okay. No, but listen. No, I'm okay. I do have a point to this. So the point is that Marxism. A lot of women are taught Marxism in a sense. So when we talk about the money representing goods and services and labor, what I'm saying is when women are taught a Marxism theory, they lose respect for the men because the men are the ones who are the greatest representations of what that money and that labor is. So not only do they lose respect in terms of the market, but they also move into the relationships and also lose respect for what the value of a man brings too.
It's because it's been codified and calcified so that I say it's like towels and soap at a motel, right? I tell that to Dr. Johnson all the time, right? It comes with the room, right? So emotional labor of a man, his money, his resources, protection comes with the room, right? If I get the man, all this stuff will come to me, right? I don't have to pay for it. I don't have to do anything for it. It comes with the guy, right? Until you walk into a hotel room where there's no towels and soap, right? And all of a sudden you said, wait a minute, there's no towels and soap here. There's always towels and soap with the room. Let me call somebody because that's one of the most important parts of the room, right? Towels and soap. We just don't think about it. So that's why I tell guys, everything that you do, whether you charge for it or not, it comes with a cost. Identify it, what you give away. Your emotional labor, like he doesn't tell me I'm pretty. He doesn't tell me that I'm gorgeous. He doesn't pat me on the butt. He doesn't show me affection. Okay, but men are not emotionally intelligent. You're asking for emotional labor. You think you do it all, but you want something in exchange. He,
Always.
huh? I said what?
Always. We all do, right? Like
Yeah,
it's bids and offers.
yeah. It is. I mean, that's what it means. I was just saying that about the table, right? Okay. Just going through there with one of the guys, right? There's no table. Of course it is. So you're gonna come with your demands to the table, with your demands, what you want from her, what you want out of your family, how many kids, block, on and on and on and on, right? What does she get? That's a negotiation. Your
Right.
families used to do that for you. The thing is, now you have to do it. It
Right.
used to be. It used to be if you vet a woman, um, and you put her in a house, if she doesn't cook and clean or straighten your stuff, your apartment up, she's not a wife. Okay, didn't have to say a word. She ain't been trained. Got to go find you another. If you want a wife, got to go find another woman because
Mhm.
you put her in a position, and her instincts, her training didn't kick off. So if your apartment is messy and you put her in, if you put her in your apartment for a day or so, okay, and she doesn't start straightening stuff up, she ain't no good as far as a wife. She hasn't been trained. Got to go find a woman that's been trained because the woman that's trained, like my mother, cannot stand a messy house. Okay, she walks in, she'll be there a few hours, and she'll start. I'm sure Maggie's probably the same way. She walks in and Mag walk in and things don't look right, and she can't sit down and even rest because yeah, things aren't right because she's been trained, socialized to do these things. Okay, and that's how you
Very
vet a wife.
particular.
So that's how come. That's how come. If she can't cook, that's the first thing a man asks: can she cook? And it's not about whether he can feed himself. Okay. You can get an air fryer. You can cook all the meals you want within like 10 or 15 minutes. It doesn't matter. Guys, they're real simple, right? But the thing is, how is she trained?
Well,
And,
and I think about
but,
too, even before that BGS though,
uh,
is that if a woman was honest and said, "No, I don't know how to cook, but I'd like to learn. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm doing these new recipes." Because think about how many men
mhm,
fresh in a young marriage have
mhm,
been for years eating some kind of trash food
mhm.
because
Oh yeah.
she's trying.
Yes.
You know, she's learning as she goes. She's trying
Mhm.
to get recipes. She's messing stuff up.
Yeah.
And he's just there with his Wonder Bread and his hamburger helper, just
Yeah.
saying, this is great, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
because he's not gonna degrade her for that. You know, she's trying.
Well, he's taken that into account that I love her enough, or there's enough there for me. I will overlook what she hasn't been trained to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if she's
And
trying,
she's
you know,
trying. Yeah.
she's learning, she's
Yeah.
figuring it out. She's, you know,
Yeah.
effort means a lot. And intention, you know, while intention is not everything, intention does mean a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. It
And
does.
also the importance of that. As you guys were speaking, I started to think about my brother. You know, because his wife before they were married, they had a child before they were married, but they ended up getting married, and so on and so forth. But she didn't know how to cook. He had to kind of teach her how to cook and do different things. Or because she's Mexican. Maybe she knew how to do Mexican, but she didn't cook at all, really. And the thing is that over time she ended up having her own little restaurant business, and she used to cater to churches and different things, whatever. But the biggest part of that, right, when you're asking a woman, does she cook? What typically happens is, so even to this day, they've been married 20 plus years, she doesn't like for him to go out and eat. She wants him, like I said, she went from not cooking to wanting him to come back home every night.
Exactly.
So what was the reason he married her in spite of her inability to cook? What did he say?
Because she was Bonnie and Clyde with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
In other words, she was this 10 toes down bottom chick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so with that cooking though, now you have an anchor for the social system of the family, because you have someone who will make sure that the family comes together, for those meals. And so this becomes the glue and part of the structure of the family. So that's partly also what's missing from a woman who doesn't cook. She doesn't necessarily may not see the nuance of the necessity to hold the family together in that aspect.
In other words, she hasn't been trained, and that's the whole thing about cooking is just one indicator. Cleaning is just one indicator, and this is something that the women in my family taught me. Okay, if she can't cook, what does she clean? If she can't clean, or does she wash clothes? So what does she do? So she's probably not going to be a good wife. Are you willing to take that risk? So why are you trying to marry her or make her your partner or your person, as Maggie says?
That's my person.
Your person.
I say it that way because, some people say that's my man or that's my woman. And so it's just, I'm being non-gender specific.
All right, I know. That's why I had to tease you about it, because it kind of, I understand, but kind of grates my nerves sometimes. My person.
Okay.
But it's okay. You have to change with the times, right? You have to change with the environment. so I understand. I'm trying to find my person. Okay. Well, I want a man that cooks and cleans. Why come go visit his mother and see if he's actually trained to cook and clean? Why you pick him and then want him to cook and clean after you marry him? He wasn't trained that way. I want my Volvo to turn into a race car. It wasn't built for that. Pick the man or the woman that you want that's built for it. If you're going to have a partner, a person for life, right?
Right. Right. And it is a negotiation because, one person can't do and be everything. Just like, when a man asks a woman, do you cook? What she hears is, are you going to do all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the laundry, all household chores, all of the child? That's what she hears because we've lost what a supportive role means. When we hear it, we think a supportive role means taking our man and lifting him up, and we are nothing, right? Instead of looking at it like, with your husband, your children, everybody's extended families, the support is the tendril that ties all the people together. and that's that supportive role. It's the web, right? Like, so when we're planning the birthday party and we're keeping the calendar, you know, and you're telling your husband, we have this on Saturday, and then we have this birthday party on Sunday, and don't forget this is coming up, right? Like, because she's the tether
Yeah.
that ties everything together.
Yeah, but because that's important to her. It's not important to him. He doesn't
Right.
care. He doesn't care.
Well, I
Okay.
mean, he needs it.
Ah.
This is why men and women come together, right?
They decide what you need. That's what
He
decide what
needs
you
the
need.
tether. He needs the tether. She needs the lead. When I talk about men and women, a lot of times I was talking about twin flames, which I'm not going to get into. But I was talking about men are like the flagpole and the women are the flags.
Yes.
She's very free flowing, flighty, going with the wind type of thing. And if she doesn't have anything to hold her steady, she's going to get caught up in a fence somewhere and be tattered to shreds. Whereas if he doesn't have the flag, then all he is a pole stuck in the ground, right? Like, they need each other. She's the one that's going to create the free flow. He's the one that's going to create the stability. And it's good for the flag to appreciate the stability of the flagpole.
Because it doesn't work the other way, because women don't want to be the flagpole.
Right. And they say we can be everything, but you're gonna be one or the other.
Yeah.
You can't be the dreamer and also have your feet on the ground. You can have great imagination and have dreams. I'm not saying that, but you can't be the dreamer. Like, one is going to pull up and the other one is going to stabilize.
That's why Kevin used to say, pressure's made for shoulders and not hips.
Say that again.
Kevin said pressure is made for shoulders and not hips.
Oh.
In other words, the way they think, the way the way they've been socialized, the way they have been brought up, the way that we have been evolved for these roles. Okay, over hundreds of thousands of years. Okay, women have not. So when women try to be put in the place of a man, they get pissed off. I can't take care of him and the family and work 60 hours a week and bring home my check, and I don't see any of it, and I have to sacrifice. They and not get anything. They can't see that.
You said sacrifice.
Yeah, men just do it because I want my family, my wife, and to be good, right? So I'm willing to work 90 hours a week. I'm willing to sacrifice. I'm willing to wear the same suit of clothes for 5 years because that's what I believe in.
Right, because she's going to be okay.
Because she's going to be okay because my duty to her supersedes what I feel that I want.
Which kind of circles back around to men see the responsibility as soon as they fall in love. It's a responsibility.
It is.
It's not daydreams. It's responsibility.
A woman says I'm getting a person. A man says I'm taking on a person.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see that.
Even the side chick and his jump off. I'm taking on another two women I have to see after and care for.
But you know, with that flag analogy, and that's part of the freedom aspect, because women are free. And so for me, like, I had a girlfriend who, she wanted to travel and different things, and I said to some degree, travel is some degree overrated. If in fact you're not a person who really understands how to interact and connect with other human beings, you could travel around the world and not really grow as the human being that you should through these different interactions. And so what essentially you have, though, is women have a freedom through relationships, as we said before. And so she has the relationships with all the different people in the family, all the different in-laws,
Connection.
yeah, you don't understand the amount of information she's getting, right? The amount of connection she's making makes her one of the freest individuals on the planet compared to the man, because his nature is just to stick to himself. He may have one friend.
Actually, men are probably freer is because men are more independent. Like a woman has to think about safety. A man can get $5,000 in a backpack and travel all over the world, okay, and be good. Women have to think of safety first. Okay? They have to make sure that where I'm going, there's somebody to watch over me, to protect me from the wilderness, from other people, from men, whatever, right? And where men said, you know what, I can be out in the middle of the woods. I can be amongst headhunters. I'll be good. I'm a man. I want to take the risk. I'm free.
Well, if you're a woman who has confidence in men, is what I'm saying. If you're a woman who has confidence in men,
well, then she's not free from men. She has to depend on wherever she goes.
Well, if what I'm saying, if she has the mindset that is not taken away from her freedom, is what I'm saying. If she sees that as the natural.
How do you define freedom, though? That's the thing we get into definitions, right? Freedom is not being tethered to another system, another person, right? Your amount of freedom. Okay, women don't have that. Okay, by nature they don't have that.
No,
Women,
we are network creatures.
they're network creatures.
Network.
That's why women depend on the environment more than men do. The reason that women can travel the way that they travel now is because the world's interconnected. It's one big environment now. A woman knows where she can travel and where she can't. She's not going to go to the Congo and travel. Okay, she's not going to go to the middle of Angola and travel. Okay, she's going to go to whatever city that can accommodate her needs. And that's and very few women go outside. You see every now and then you see a woman go outside those bounds, but they're very few. And sometimes, most times, that does not turn out well.
I mean, think about even if you get off work after dark.
Yes.
As a woman, you got to go find the security guard, or you ask your male coworker. Like, you already know, somebody's going to have to walk you to your car. You already know, and it's just assumed that a man, you're a coworker. Like, you don't know this woman. Who says that? I don't know this woman from a can of paint.
Yeah.
And now your life is on the line to make sure she is safely escorted to her vehicle.
Yeah.
Like, that's even on a very small scale, let alone travel.
I'll tell you something. Especially when I passed 40 years old, right? There was a lot of women I worked with that had houses and did well for themselves. They wanted me to move in just to have a man in the house. So when they get home at night and they turn that key, that they're going to be safe because there's a man in the house. I can't tell how many women say, hey, why don't you come live with me? Why don't you blah, 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 just to have a man in the house. And men take that for granted.
So Maggie, so now that we got you here, you tell us.
Wait, this is my channel. I was here the whole time.
The thing is, we don't have to pay $150, Maggie, to talk to you. That's the thing.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's free.
Exactly. Now that we got you here, so are women kind of annoyed from your standpoint, from your personal or from your experience with other women? Do they see that as a hindrance, and are they annoyed by the fact that they are reliant on men in those kind of small but important ways?
Yes and no. I'm sorry, that's not an easy answer. I will say yes in some ways, because a lot more women are carrying. You know what I mean? A lot more women are carrying nowadays.
Yes.
Because they don't want to be reliant upon a man for safety. And so, the unfortunate thing is it's in their purse, which is slung over their shoulder. It doesn't really do a whole lot of good, but if you feel safe, you feel safe, right? And probably a lot of women should have those things. And be skilled in utilizing them. Don't just buy it. So I say yes in some ways, but no in some ways, because I think it's this weird dissonant thought of almost like men love this shit. Like that's the odd thinking of a man wants to walk me to my car.
Okay.
A man wants to show up. A man wants to be the hero. A man wants to make sure I'm safe. Like it's like you're standing in the corner with the loading symbol, just waiting for some woman to come activate you to be her knight in shining armor.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though they're like, I can do all this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I can protect myself. When they do have to rely on a man, it's almost like, well, I'm doing him a favor for allowing him to do something for me.
Yep.
Okay, I got it. And so women have they taken that for granted now? Is to that point?
Well, yeah. I mean, but I hate playing to the margins. That's the thing, is that while feminism and westernization and our current mode of operating is really messed up who we are as social creatures, I think most people are a lot more moderate in their thinking. Social media is not the best portrayal of everyday people. So I think there are more moderate thinking, but the difficulty is because of social media and because of what women are hearing on social media, it's infecting their thought processes. They start to think, young women start to think that what they see on social media can be reality for them. That like, oh my gosh, I'm going to sound like Kevin Samuels for a second. Everybody be okay. They're kind of like, I'm super medium,
Wait, what? Super medium. What's that?
Super medium is like being a little better than mid.
Oh,
Okay. I'm super medium, right? Like I'm not skinny, but I'm not obese. I look average. I'm not saying this about myself by the way.
I'm a 7, okay?
Well,
I'm
and
not
I
average, but I'm a
like
7.
5.5. Right? Like I'm a 5.5, 6.
6.
And but I hear men want to give me their money. Men want to work for me. Men want to,
Yeah,
men are going to come running. Men are, because I have a booty,
Yes, yeah.
they keep hearing these things and that,
Yeah.
and they're inflating their bids and offers, right? Because they're being taught a certain thing, right? Because our grandmas didn't tell us to sit down and shut up. Like, what are you even talking about? You're super medium.
Yeah, we don't have Chinese grandmas, okay?
Yeah.
You're fat. You're fat. You never get a husband. You're fat.
Yeah, like lose some weight. You're not. You want this super active, fit gym rat dude, but you never work out. Like never. So it's not there. So that's the unfortunate part, is that I think people do compromise a lot more when they get into a relationship and they are willing to give and take, but social media is making things, it's indoctrinating young ladies. That was why I did the show on Princella, because a lot of the stuff she says is dangerous. I mean, it is dangerous, and it almost seems like she's creating this cult of lesbians. I mean, just everybody be a lesbian, and that's it.
Yeah. Until it comes time to who pays the bill.
Yeah.
Do you know about the Combahee River Collective and the women before that who tried to do the lesbian communes?
No.
Every 35-year-old stud is trying to get a man because she's tired of taking care of a woman.
Well, BLM is an offshoot of that Combahee River.
And how many of them have baby daddies?
Right.
Yeah, I've even seen TikTok videos, like it became trending for a little bit, like men saying when you go to pick up the kids from your ex and she's a stud.
Yeah. We'll have to talk about that one offline about why that is, Maggie.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, they can't do it on your
You
show.
know, they greet each other at the door and they got the handshake.
Yeah,
You know?
they do.
Like, hey, bro.
Every stud has a favorite. You know what? Okay,
Okay. Okay.
everyone.
Wow.
Every stud that I knew, she had a favorite. You know what?
Yeah. Hi, Pragmatic Prime. Oh, Leon says he's dropping off a clip. Oh,
Oh,
I don't see him.
okay. He's probably talking about me.
Oh, okay.
About I guess about studs. Okay.
Oh.
I know about I know about them because I've been I used to be actually propositioned by a few of them. Yeah, but studs are actually more business-like. Okay, you say, okay, if you marry me and we get together, I'll pay this. I'll pay this. How many times a week do you want sex? And they'll stick to it. It's a contract.
Hey, BGS, what?
Nice.
Listen,
So what?
tell me why I might be able to look into this.
If you you got to find one that likes you, and she'll proposition you. You just have to negotiate. If you find one that's over 35 and she's tired of taking care of women and she needs a man to help take care of her, right? And men are way more generous about taking care of a woman than vice versa, right?
And you can both have side chicks.
Yeah, you can. Sometimes together. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but they do business like a man. Okay, this is what I want. This is what I'm offering, and they'll stick to it. Whereas normal women don't. Okay, it's kind of like you're expected to give, and I can change my mind, and you still expected to give. So the women says are a lot more reasonable as far as sticking to a contract.
Mm-hmm.
In
All
my
right, Leon's ready to come up. I'm gonna bring him up. See what he's got to say.
All right, Leon. Mr. Gynocracy himself. What's going on, Leon?
You muted, Leon.
He'll figure it out.
There's a lot of buttons.
We get Maggie for free. So I tell everybody, while she's here, you get it for free. Otherwise, Maggie will take 150 an hour. Won't you, Maggie? Yeah, she'll take it. Yeah, she'll sit down and talk to you. 150 an hour.
Are you a redhead, Maggie?
No. My hair is actually naturally blonde, but right now it's a bit darker.
Okay, gotcha.
So I tell people when we get experts in, I tell you this is the rate if you want to talk to them offline. But while they're here, it'll soak up all the game that you can.
Yes. Oh, here, I'm putting it out. It's for free, right?
It's for free. Yeah. You know, people don't believe free is valuable. Okay, until they have to pay for it. So I used to get this for free. Yeah, not today though.
Right. Now you have to pay for it.
I had to pay for it. You're in the office, okay?
Right.
I have to pay
that
tax.
insurance card.
Leon says, "Don't bring him up. He's at work."
Oh, okay.
He wanted to send the clip.
Oh, you want to put something in the back chat? Okay.
Oh, bro, I don't know anything about a back chat.
It's a private chat. It's the back chat.
Okay.
You see the button says private chat. It should be right there, right next to comments. You're such a girl, Maggie.
Hey, listen.
You're such a girl. Jeez.
Hey, look at that.
You're such a girl.
Hey, this is all new to me. You were talking me through it.
I know I said it when Maggie's right. Say it again, white girl. Say it again.
Now, see, that makes me feel good. Okay. So Leon says it's a good clip. A college student got robbed and the boys just watched and didn't help.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Wow. I don't know if I can. So here's something about me, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot. I shouldn't say cannot, because of course I can. I hate watching violent things.
Mm-hmm.
just being an empathetic person
Mm-hmm.
to the level that I am, I've had to accept the fact of how sensitive I can be about other people's pain.
Mm-hmm.
So I've learned to embrace that. I became a therapist, because I feel other people's pain. And
Mm-hmm.
even I couldn't even remember way back in the day, the America's Funniest Videos, and
Oh
like
yeah.
people would fall off skateboards, or the little kid would swing the wiffle ball bat and hit dad in the twig and berries. And I can't. So even like watching people get robbed, I'm working on research with another researcher right now,
Mm-hmm.
and we have it's about violence, racially
Mm-hmm.
motivated violence.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to watch so many videos and look at books, and right now we're having to go through the book The Delectable Negro,
Mm-hmm.
and look at specific things, find specific things that I don't have any bandwidth to watch anything violent. So I will have to watch that outside of here, not watch it for the first time on a live. I'm sorry, Leon.
Well, I think maybe he's trying to get into whether or not it's innate for men to want to have that loading on their forehead to want to do and protect and protect women. I think that's what he's
They
doing.
have to be socialized to do it, and that's the thing, and that's what women are missing out on. It's not automatic. It's not innate. It has to be socialized.
Right.
Well,
Like,
BGS. I remember when I was young. Well,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I was socialized and didn't realize it. I used to think about taking a bullet for a female.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when I was a kid. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that would be the greatest thing.
Where'd you hear it? Where'd you see it? Okay, you saw it in media. You read it in books. It was actually socialized into you by the females in your family.
mhm.
Automatic.
The knight in shining armor.
Shining armor, yeah, and
Mhm.
the damsel in distress. Okay,
I
it's
think we all generally, just like as human beings,
mm-hmm.
especially when you think of little kids before our programming starts hitting,
Mm-hmm.
we generally are helpful to
Yes.
one another. Like, we want to be helpful to one another. Like, if we see one of our little friends being harmed by somebody else,
Yeah.
we want to help.
Mm-hmm.
We want to do these things, but it's the expectation that, yeah, men just want to take a bullet for me. I don't know what to tell you. That's just, it's such odd thinking,
Mm-hmm.
to just
Until they
expect total strangers to do that.
until they don't, and then what's wrong with men? Yeah.
Right. Right. Gosh, you just made me think of the brick lady. And then when the real story comes out.
Right, but Twitter. There was a couple years ago. Twitter had there was a woman that said black women are the greatest protectors of black women, and Twitter saw that and got and actually it was in Chicago. She took her tweet. They took Twitter, the organization, took her tweet and had it put up on a huge billboard in
Mm-hmm.
in Chicago. You know, like basically saying that black men ain't shit. We don't have that. We're not socialized with that. We have no value.
So let me get this straight. So when a black woman has a problem with a man or somebody else, they automatically call their mother and their sisters to protect her. Where have I seen that? Like, never. I'm gonna get my brothers and my daddy to come get you. Okay.
Right. I'm going to send my cousin to your house to beat you up.
To beat you up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. From the time that you're a little girl on the playground, I'm gonna go get my brothers to come beat you up. Then I'm gonna get my mother and my sisters. Okay. It doesn't work that way.
That is a valid point.
If you look at why are in the football the players are actually men on the field, and women are actually the cheerleaders. Okay, they're the warriors going out to fight for their team, and women are cheering them on and giving them social and emotional support.
So Maggie, are women wired up in terms of love to love a man who is willing to take a bullet or not? Because I see some relationships where the man can't do shit for the woman in terms of if they went out So is that part of the requirement to love a man? Because I know we as Black men, we kind of have some anxiousness because a lot of this is putting out that we don't protect, we don't provide, and whatever. So in some cases, we think that we can't necessarily get a Black woman to love us because of all of this rhetoric. So is that necessary, you think, as a woman?
I don't think it's necessary, but I think if you keep in mind that women romanticize love, especially in the beginning, a few years in, they're going to be like, man, I can't stand that dude, but I love him, So, I mean, that's when it kind of gets real, the relationship has to get real. But I think women want chivalry, but they go about it in really dangerous ways. Like they think they want the guy who's going to put his jacket on the puddle for her to walk over so that her shoes don't get ruined. But they enact it by texting their son to come in the restaurant and kill the guy that's yelling at her.
Oh,
And it's created a really dangerous dynamic amongst men and women because women are activating men to enact their violence and then telling them, my love language is you being violent to other people on my behalf.
What did Elle say? She wanted a man that can kill another man but with his bare hands.
Yeah. And that, I mean, and my comments to that were, what men don't go around, like real men don't go around every day like, I'm going to kill that guy with my bare hands. I bet I could kill that guy. Now, sometimes, yes, I get that. That you're like, I could take that dude. And, I know how this is. But they just don't sit and obsess on killing people all day. Like, that is not the criteria of a real man. Somebody who's about murder all day.
And those are dangerous people. Yeah.
Yeah.
But some women like dangerous people. Just say it.
So should men, in terms of their vetting, should they think twice about a woman who expects that versus, and would there be a difference in terms of outcome and success of the relationship versus a man getting with a woman who expects that versus another in terms of the bare bones of the everyday relationship that they have?
I mean, unfortunately, you're going to have to look at where you are on Maslow's. Like, if you are both just trying to survive, if you're in a situation where it's every single day is survival, then maybe that bid and offer is about having to be violent. And you're going to have to decide if you trust her discernment to decide when violence is necessary. Like sometimes things are just very base, just very base. Now, again, that's the margins. So, and I generally go with everybody else. So I think it's a yellow flag if you start to notice that a woman wants to activate your violence, like almost use you as a robot or a protection drone. If you start to see any indicators of that, I think your radar definitely needs to turn on, because that could put you in real dangerous situations, and the expectation of violence is always going to be looming. And so that's going to create a lot of hypervigilance in you, and long-term hypervigilance and stress response is what creates things like heart disease, diabetes, obesity, those kind of things. And you can kind of see how that stress all plays in if that's been the expectation over time.
Does that impact the everyday relationship between him and her? I mean, does the relationship become more satisfying in terms of the couple? Does it work better between them at least, even with, okay, if he's willing to endure that, is it worth it for the sake of, okay, this relationship is going to be more successful than a woman who doesn't have that Is she more attached or more in love? I guess what I say.
I think it would depend on what you consider successful. Because my thinking is if at any moment you knew you had to be enacted or you were to be enacted towards violence, that you're actually not protected by your woman. Oh, we lost BGS. Then I'm not sure how much you would consider that successful. And when I say protected by your woman, I love the visual of when a male lion is threatened by another male lion, the female lion comes up under his chin and protects his neck. And I think about, in relationship, a woman should be protecting your neck, not necessarily using you as a drone. So but again, it goes back to bids and offers and what is her asset? If that's the liability, what is her asset? And so I think each man has to decide for themselves. But also, thank you, BGS, for coming up. Sorry we lost you. I hope you have a good rest of your Sunday. Okay, but hopefully that answers your question, Ian.
Yeah, that does answer. It does, and because, like I said, because I am looking at, because they have a certain term called, what is it, history. Women who like men who are like thugs and violent and different things like that, and they talk so glowingly of these violent men that they like, which is something that men want in relationship. They want a woman to kind of feel look up to them in some form of fashion, and I think what the dynamic for the woman is that, okay, is she going to be more readily sexually aroused and turned on and intimate with him? You know what I'm saying? Because that also leads to a successful relationship, is the intimacy too,
Mm-hmm. Well, I think unfortunately, because women romanticize things, when you talk about guys who I guess would be called, thugs or whatever, more violent people, they're also tend to be really good at game. And so they're flirting and they're saying all the right thing with the woman and they're being chivalrous and they're kicking a dude's butt for looking at the woman, and so she's getting a lot of princess treatment and just feeling like she can do anything and be anything, and he's making her feel beautiful. Now what he's doing on the side is not great, but she's trading his dignity for her comfort, because it makes her feel good, because it's good game and it makes me feel good and it makes me feel beautiful. And because he doesn't have more going for him than that lifestyle, he puts his talents into more base interactions. It's kind of like there was a comedian one time that said every woman will tell you the best eggplant she ever had, the guy didn't have sheets. And all the women in the room laughed. Why did they all laugh? Because we've all met that guy. But we're trading our feel good in the moment. He could end up in prison at any time, and some of it's off of us because we enacted him to violence in our name.
Well, see, that's the thing. Women being more emotional, aren't they more in the moment on a regular basis within the relationship? So wouldn't that stand to benefit the relationship if she's always in the moment, in her feelings more often? If she has that moment to moment, wouldn't that kind of be a consistent positive for the relationship?
Only if you can trust her. If you can trust her discernment. if my man trusts my discernment and I say to him, this guy's dangerous, and I look and he trusts my discernment and he knows that I'm not going to just willy-nilly put him in harm's way. I'm not that I'm going to always try to keep us out of harm's way. If I say that guy is dangerous, he knows immediately and he is activated because and in an appropriate way. You know, he goes into action. He's moving me behind him. He's moving us to the exit. He's got an eye on the danger. He's not necessarily going and attacking unless need be, but if you can trust her discernment, then you can trust when she activates that in you, when she says, this is a problem and I need you on right now. It's more about the health of the relationship, not necessarily the longevity of the relationship. We've all known people who have been together for 20 years who can't stand each other, and it's super unhealthy and it's terrible for both of them.
Right. I had a situation with an ex-girlfriend of mine is that I kind of argued with a guy or whatever, and we were riding bikes. And, and for me, because I'm protective like that. But the thing is with her, the guy was arguing and he was inching to, we were sitting on our bikes. And see, for me, I never liked the idea of being violent in the presence of the person that I was protecting, because I always kind of felt that actually puts the person, him or her, the child or the woman I'm with, in more danger instead of less danger. And so I was upset because she watched the guy inching towards, right, and she is an intelligent, civilized individual. I know she could have said something to de-escalate, right? And she when we got, and I was so upset because I'm like, yo, why aren't you saying anything to stop this, right? Because I wasn't interested in fighting the guy with her next to me, and I didn't feel comfortable, right? I felt comfortable being in protect mode, but if I could, I would avoid it. And so I was kind of downplaying it, but he kept coming, and she just sat there. And when we got home, she was like, "Oh, I thought this was just what, she was like, this is just what men do. I was just letting y'all do your men thing." And I'm like, "Yo, but what about us? I don't put men thing before us."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, and it puts you in more danger, right? Because you have to keep an eye on whoever the assailant is, that now there may be aggression popping off between you. And you also have to keep an eye on her, like situational awareness. If something goes down, is she in harm's way? Right. So it puts you in more danger in those situations too. And I think the other thing is, not only do you need to trust your woman's discernment, and if you don't trust her discernment, then that's a yellow flag you need to be watching. But she also needs to be prepared to take direction in those moments. So if you've been activated by her, if she's pointed out danger, said, hey, this is what's going on, this is the problem, and then he tells you, go to the car. And your response to that, you can't tell me what to do and tell me please and ask me, you don't get to boss me around, whatever. If you've enacted him to handle the situation because you don't want to get in a fight with a grown man about whatever's happening, then you have to take direction. You have to be able to be told what to do in those scenarios and let him take care of the situation, because he may assess the situation and be like, I can talk, like we can talk this out. I can talk this guy down. I can get us out of here. Let him decide how to handle that situation. And if he's got to tell you what to do to get you out of the way, to get you out of the place, or even if he tells you you're way off base and you need to be quiet and you need to quit starting stuff here and being dramatic, you need to be able to zip it. And a lot of us don't like to be told what to do, but also if you're going to enact that in him, sometimes the assessment is that your woman is your problem. She's causing the problem.
Yeah, because to some degree, though, is what I felt was that his energy was, I think, based off her demeanor. He was in some degree trying to, because women are women, right? Whether she's your woman or not, men will try to play to the woman that's present. And so what my thing was is that I was, because I'm, I love psychology. My thing was, if you understand that this man is in his ego partly because he's trying to show me up in front of you to some degree, but if you would just say the simple thing like, okay, sir, we're not really interested in this, that would have helped to kind of have him back off, because now there is no incentive, because she has made it clear that that's not something that impresses her, right? So
Yeah.
so that's what I was upset about too.
Yeah. And that's how women can protect men. Yes, traditionally men are protectors and providers, but a woman needs to protect the man's neck, right? Not put his neck out there on the line. If there is a way, if she sees something that's going down, if there's a way for her to diffuse the situation, calm things down, move things in another direction to keep her man from having to be in the situation of getting into violence, then that's what she needs to be doing. That's how she protects his neck. All right, guys.
That was one of the most hurtful things in our that at that point I really lost a lot of love for her because of that one situation.
Yeah. I mean, women who gamble with men's safety, that you got to be thinking about that. Lloyd says some women enjoy the drama of the situation as well, even getting some sort of entertainment. Yeah. Leon says that does not work. You women can do a simple thing like putting her hand on your arm and say, let's go multiple times as you continue to look at the guy while leaving. This is my experience. Yeah. I get that. I think you have to communicate too, like this is the reason why we're leaving. All right. We have hit 2 hours. Thank you, Ian, for coming up. But I have laundry and housework to do. We talked a lot about laundry and housework, and I got to get back to it.
Oh, nice. I appreciate you.
Sure.
Yeah, I appreciate you. So,
Sure.
I just dropped down. Thank you for having me up and answering some of our questions.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Have a nice day.
You too. Okay. Thank you all for sticking in there for 2 hours. This was definitely long today. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate everything going on in the comments. I think this was good conversation. I think having conversation about relationships is kind of where people are moving towards. The more healthy we get and the more we're able to advocate and to look at what the problems are and tell the truth about each other, the more I think now we're trying to figure out, okay, now how do we connect in a healthy way? So we're probably going to have more conversations about relationship. I hope you guys are down for it. If you did not see the video that I put up yesterday about hoe mouth, to me, it's funny. I got a giggle out of doing that one. I hope you all can watch it. Otherwise, I'll see the Wednesday group on Wednesday, or I'll see y'all next Sunday. Bye.